The sky burned red. Ash fell like snow across the broken land of Vera 9, a small human colony on the edge of explored space. Smoke rose from shattered buildings and dead machines. The battle had ended hours ago, but the ground still shook with small, distant explosions. Fires flickered in the dark like dying stars. A group of armored soldiers moved through the rubble, their black and green armor clicking with each step. These were Karn Dominion troops, tall, reptilian, cold. Their ship had struck hard and fast, wiping out the colony in less than a day. No survivors, they thought. No resistance left. Until they found him. Half buried under a collapsed wall, a man was lying still, blood on his face, one arm twisted, armor cracked open. His name was Sergeant Aaron Vale. His breathing was shallow but steady. His eyes were open. He was alive. The Karns circled him with weapons raised. One officer stepped forward. His voice was sharp and proud. "So this is a human? Doesn't look like much." Aaron didn't move, didn't speak. His face was calm, too calm. The Karns dragged him out of the rubble. They locked thick metal cuffs around his wrists. A transport ship landed nearby, steam hissing as the ramp opened. As they pulled him up the ramp, Aaron finally spoke. His voice was low, broken, but certain. "You shouldn't have done this." The Karns laughed. "We've done your species a favor. One less soldier, one less threat." They didn't know who they were dealing with. 10 hours later, Earth Command, Deep Space Operations, Black Zone, a silent room, a long dark table. Around it sat Earth's top military minds, generals, admirals, intelligence chiefs. No chatter, no debate, just cold focus. A single report was displayed on the large screen at the end of the room. Transmission: UNSC Outpost, Vera 9 lost, one survivor, identified as Sergeant Aaron Vale. Status: captured B. Karn forces. General Hua leaned forward. She tapped the table once. "Confirmed?" "Confirmed," replied a man in a grey suit. "Eye scan match. It's Vale." The room stayed silent for several seconds. No one needed to ask who he was. Sergeant Aaron Vale was Ghost Division, one of Earth's elite deep space operatives, trained for stealth, survival, and surgical warfare. Officially, his division didn't exist. Only a few people in this room had ever even seen his face. Earth had many soldiers, but Vale was different. And now he was in enemy hands. General Hua stood. "We don't negotiate. We don't send warnings." She looked around the table. No one objected. No one dared. "Find him, then destroy everything in your path." Back on the Karn cruiser, en route to Dominion space. Aaron sat in a cold metal cell, hands bound behind him. A single light above flickered every few seconds. He listened to the hum of the engines. He could count the number of guards by their footsteps. He knew the ship's layout from the shuttle ride. He had already memorized the camera patterns. His eyes were swollen. His ribs hurt with every breath. Still, he smiled. They had no idea what was coming. At the edge of the solar system, a long, silent ship slid out of warp space. Matte black, no visible windows, no markings. Only a small white logo near the rear thrusters. UNSC Valkyrie. On board, dozens of soldiers moved in silence, checking weapons, sinking armor, preparing for war. Their faces were blank, their movements fast and clean. They were called Ghost Company. No interviews, no medals, no history books, only results. A voice echoed through the ship's speakers, calm and clear. "Mission confirmed. Sergeant Vale has been taken. You know what to do." 1 day later, the galaxy watches. A report spread quietly among the outer worlds, whispers in bars, markets, and news feeds. Earth's ghosts are moving. No one saw them leave. No official message, no threats, just silence. But everyone knew what that meant. The Karns had made a mistake. They had taken one human, and now Earth was coming. One day later, the galaxy watches. A report spread quietly among the outer worlds, whispers in bars, markets, and news feeds. Earth's ghosts are moving. No one saw them leave. No official message, no threats, just silence. But everyone knew what that meant. The Karns had made a mistake. They had taken one human, and now Earth was coming. Darkness, not the kind that comes with night, the kind that feels thick, heavy, silent. Sergeant Aaron Vale sat chained to a metal chair in the center of a freezing grey room deep inside the Karn prison ship. A single light hung above him, flickering weakly. His hands were cuffed behind him. His feet were locked in place. Blood ran slowly down his temple. His lips were cracked. One eye was swollen shut. He didn't care. A low hiss filled the room as the door opened. 3 tall Karn officers entered. Their uniforms were smooth, sharp, and dark red. They carried no weapons. They didn't need them. They thought Aaron was already broken. The tallest Karn stepped forward. His voice was cold and smooth. "Human, state your name, rank, and command authority." Aaron slowly looked up, one eye open, a faint smirk forming on his bruised face. "Your translator broken. I told you yesterday, and the day before, and the day before that." The Karn frowned. "You are injured, starving, alone. Why resist?" Aaron chuckled, but it hurt to laugh. "Because it's fun watching you try." The Karn commander slammed a hand on the table. "We will break you." "You can try," Aaron whispered, "but I don't break." 3 days later, they had tried everything. Electric shock pulses, sleep deprivation, drug injections, simulated pain fields, even psychological projections meant to show him Earth burning. He didn't scream. He didn't beg. He watched. He waited. They tried a neural scan, plugged wires into the back of his skull. But Aaron's mind was trained, conditioned. Mental block routines triggered automatically. The data scrambled. The system shorted. They pulled the plug, and he grinned through the sparks. Observation room. Karn cruiser. Behind a one-way screen, a young Karn officer named Lekshil watched the human in silence. He was new to the command crew, still learning. But and he could tell, something about this prisoner was different. He turned to his superior. "Sir, why doesn't he break? No human has ever lasted this long." The older Karn scoffed. "He's bluffing. They all fall, eventually." Lekshil shook his head. "No. This one. He's waiting for something." The commander frowned. "Waiting for what?" Lekshil didn't answer. He wasn't sure. But in that moment, deep down, he felt it. Fear. Meanwhile, Earth Command. Thousands of light years away, inside a hidden Earth intelligence base, a team of analysts stared at a 3D map. A red dot moved across the stars. The Karn prison ship. "Tracking remains stable," said a technician. "They haven't spotted our shadow probe." A general stood behind them, arms crossed. "Good. Keep it quiet. We need exact location before we strike." A second voice came through a secure channel. "Ghost Company is ready. Standing by for green light." The general nodded. "Soon. He's still alive. We go when we're sure." Back on the ship, Aaron's cell, another day, maybe 2. Time meant nothing anymore. Aaron's eyes were closed now, breathing slow, body still. The guards thought he was asleep. He wasn't. He was listening, counting, remembering the layout of the hallways, the hum of the ship's engines, the shift change rotation, the guard footsteps, heavier on the left side, always two outside the door. He had learned everything. They had taken his weapons, his tools, his freedom, but they hadn't taken his training. And soon he would remind them, humans are not weak. Interrogation room, final attempt. The Karn commander stood before Aaron once again. This is your last chance. Give us your codes, your fleet movements, your mission data. Aaron looked up, blood on his teeth, and smiled. You still don't get it, do you? The Karn leaned in. What? Aaron whispered, slow and calm. You think you're winning, but the moment you took me, you lost. What are you talking about? The Karn hissed. Aaron leaned forward slightly. They're coming. Space was quiet. But behind that silence, something was moving. Something built for war. Far beyond Earth's orbit, a massive black ship sat in the dark. It had no markings, no lights, and no windows. Only one word was painted along its side in faded white. UNSC Valkyrie. The Valkyrie wasn't listed in any public records. No civilian had ever seen it. It didn't patrol trade routes or answer distress calls. It only launched when Earth needed to send a message. And today, that message was clear. You took one of ours. Now we're coming. Inside the ship, a group of soldiers stood in silence. Dozens of them, fully suited. Faces hidden behind black helmets. No symbols, no names, no emotions. They were known only as Ghost Company. Earth's Black Ops Force, trained to infiltrate, trained to fight in the shadows, trained to kill without leaving a trace. Each of them had studied the mission file. Each of them knew the target. Primary objective: rescue Sergeant Aaron Vale. Secondary objective: punish the Karn Dominion. Authorization level: burn. The ship's commander stood in front of them. His voice came through the speakers, cold and sharp. You know who they took. You know what he means. We are not here to negotiate. We are not here to scare them. We are here to end this. No cheers, no words, just a quiet nod from every soldier. Orders had been given, and when Ghost Company gets orders, things die. Earth Command, Diplomatic Wing. While the Valkyrie slipped into dark space, messages flooded Earth's communication channels. Leaders from the Zor Coalition, the Thren Union, and even the distant Kazel Council sent urgent calls. Please do not escalate this conflict. We can help mediate. The Karns made a mistake, but peace must come first. They begged, they warned. Some even threatened. Earth replied with a single sentence. We only talk after we get our peers. Opal back. Then Earth went silent. The galaxy had seen wars before, but this was different. Humans weren't posturing. They weren't asking for support or alliances. They were moving without permission, and that scared everyone. Karn Dominion, Capital Command Center, news of the human reaction spread fast. The Karn leaders met in private. Their admirals argued. Some wanted to send an apology. Others wanted to execute Aaron Vale quickly, to erase the problem. But one general, an old warrior named Terex Va, stood and spoke. You think they care about words? You think they will forgive us because we send gifts or make a deal? He pointed to a report from a past battle, a colony attack where humans had lost 3 civilians. In response, Earth had glassed the attacker's entire moon, They are not like us. They don't bluff. When they say they're coming, they're already here. UNSC Valkyrie. En route. The ship moved like a shadow across space. Its hull absorbed radar signals. Its engines left no trail. Its path curved around star systems to avoid detection. Inside, Ghost Company studied maps of the Karn prison cruiser. They knew every hallway, every camera, every guard rotation. They even had the ship's heartbeat, the rhythm of its engines and power cycles. This wasn't a rescue mission. It was a warning to the galaxy. One soldier loaded a magnetic blade into his gauntlet. Another checked her smart rifle's silent fire mode. No one spoke. But every one of them thought the same thing. You don't touch a human and walk away. Earth Command. Final authorization. In a deep command bunker, General Hua stood at a black terminal. A single button blinked red. Below it the words, "Authorize operation, Iron Hand." She pressed it without hesitation. Transmission sent. Go. Retrieve the asset. Burn everything else. The lights flickered. Then the ship went dark. Deep inside the Karn prison cruiser, alarms failed. Doors jammed. Engines slowed. The power grid crashed. Far above, an Earth stealth drone finished its job. It had planted a virus, one designed to disrupt just long enough for him to move. Aaron's cell, Sector 9. The magnetic lock on the door clicked. Then it slid open. Aaron Vale opened his eyes. No guards, no cameras, just silence. He stood, bruised and stiff, and grabbed a loose metal bar he had hidden beneath the bench. He stepped into the hallway. A Karn guard appeared. Aaron didn't hesitate. One strike, another. The body dropped. He took the guard's access card, a stun baton, then disappeared into the dark. Karn Bridge. Confusion. "Power's down," a Karn shouted. "Sabotage," another asked. "Find the prisoner, now." Panic spread. They scrambled to restore systems, but the virus was still spreading. They didn't know it was too late. Lower decks. Aaron moved fast. He didn't make a sound. He took weapons from storage rooms, silenced enemies with stolen blades, avoided cameras, memorized patrol routes. A squad tried to corner him. He killed them all. The Karns whispered now. "He's just one man." But even they didn't believe it anymore. Hangar Bay, silent signal. Aaron reached the hangar. He ducked behind crates and hacked a nearby panel. Fingers trembling, he sent out a coded pulse, a signal only Earth could read. He whispered, "Let's see if they're listening." They were. Space, UNSC Valkyrie. The Valkyrie uncloaked just outside the Karn ship. Dozens of drop pods launched from its hull. Ghost Company had arrived. Hangar, invasion begins. Karn guards turned at the sound of soft impacts. Then the first black-armored soldier stepped out of a pod. No words, no mercy. The fight lasted only seconds. When it was over, Ghost Company contees rolled the hangar. Elsewhere, extraction. Aaron had just taken down another squad when he heard a voice in his stolen earpiece. "Sergeant Vale, we're on board." He smiled weakly. "Took you long enough?" A team found him minutes later. Their leader stepped forward, helmet off. "Time to go home, Sergeant." Aaron nodded. "Set charges. Blow it." "Already done." Bridge. Karns panic. "Human forces on board," shouted a Karn commander. "Impossible!" But it wasn't. Escape pods were locked. Systems down. Earth had them. Final moments. Hangar, as Aaron was lifted into the shuttle, he looked back at the dying ship. "They thought I was alone," he said quietly. A ghost soldier beside him replied, "They were wrong." The Karn prison cruiser drifted silently through space. Its engines were dead. Its crew was gone. Its walls were cracked open like a broken shell. Ghost Company stood in the main hangar, bloodied but calm. Aaron Vale, bandaged and quiet, sat near the ramp of the evac shuttle. A signal was sent. Not encrypted, not hidden. A direct message to the Karn Empire. A soldier's voice spoke, calm and deadly. "You took one of ours. Now you'll understand the cost." The feed ended. But the message had only begun. 6 hours later, Karn border space, the stars shifted. Then they darkened. 200 warships exited warp. The UNSC fleet had arrived. Titan-class dreadnoughts, stealth frigates, planet killers. There were no warnings, no calls, no last chances. They weren't here to talk. They were here to answer. Colony 1, Nareth Prime. It was a mining world, peaceful, normal. Until the clouds caught fire, orbital defense systems blinked and then vanished under plasma beams. The ground split open as kinetic rods slammed into the planet. The colony was erased in 3 minutes. Nothing survived. Colony 2, Velkar Station, an industrial hub, home to 2 million Karn civilians. The fleet did not aim at them. They targeted the command bunkers, the shipyards, the fuel lines. Once the structures were gone, the Earth forces deployed drones, hundreds of them. Each drone carried a speaker. They flew across the ruined colony, repeating one sentence in every known Karn dialect. "You took one of ours. This is what happens next." Colony 3, Zareth 4, a military world. They had prepared, fortified, waited. But Earth came with weapons they had never seen. Orbital jammers shut down all communications. EMP pulses fried their targeting. Then, from the black, came the railguns. The main command tower didn't explode. It simply ceased to exist. Then Earth deployed there, a final gift. A message carved by orbital drones into the remains of the colony's capital city. "Don't touch our people." The aftermath. Karn broadcasts scrambled to cover the news. They called it fake, propaganda. But millions had seen it. Footage leaked, burning cities, craters miles wide, UNSC warships blotting out the sky. And then came the wreckage. Human ships left fragments behind, metal shards shaped into symbols. Not art. Warnings. Simple, brutal, and unmistakable. Back on Earth, UNSC Command, General Halverson stood before the tactical screen. He didn't smile. He didn't speak. Behind him, a junior officer whispered, "Is that enough?" The general answered without turning. "They'll think twice next time." Aaron Vale, safe house, lunar base. He sat alone, staring at the stars outside. A medic checked his wounds. A technician adjusted the neural blocker in his head. He ignored them. His eyes were locked on the night sky. "They thought we'd beg," he whispered. "We answered with fire." The galaxy stopped moving. News of Earth's retaliation spread like wildfire across star systems. Even in the farthest corners of space, where humans had never walked, the message was clear. The Karn Dominion, once feared by many, had been brought to its knees in less than a day. 3 colonies. Gone. No negotiations, no demands, no mercy. Silence on the channels. In the great cities of the Yeltan Federation, their elder council sat still, watching footage of burning Karn settlements. "We warned them," one whispered. "No," said another. "We didn't warn them loud enough." The Velari Enclave, known for their vast spy networks, intercepted Earth's unencrypted message and stored it in their archives. Their analysts gave the same report to every Velari commander. Humans are not diplomats, they are weapons in disguise. The Karn reaction. Inside the shattered war halls of the Karn Dominion, chaos ruled. Leaders yelled over each other. Military officers screamed for answers. Someone demanded retaliation. But there was none. Their fleets were gone. Their outer defenses destroyed. And the worst part? Earth had already gone quiet. They didn't gloat, didn't send ultimatums, didn't even broadcast a victory message. The humans simply vanished back into their space, as if it had all been business. Whispers between stars, secret meetings took place. In gas giants, on deep space stations, beneath frozen moons, alien diplomats gathered in shadowed rooms, speaking in low voices. What are humans becoming? They were peaceful once. Maybe they still are, until you cross the line. The Torvi Union, once considering war over a border trade route, quietly backed down. The Dravak lords, who had once enslaved primitive species for sport, pulled their ships out of human space. No one said it openly, but everyone understood Earth was off limits now. Back on Eris, there were no parades, no victory speeches. The footage of the fleet's return was barely shown. No interviews were given. No soldiers spoke to the press. The only public message came from the UNSC. Our people will always come home. Aaron Vale, Recovery Ward, Lunar Base. Aaron sat in silence, eyes fixed on the blue marble hanging in the sky. He had healed. The scars on his face were fading, but something inside him stayed quiet, heavy. A nurse asked him if he wanted to speak to the media. He shook his head once. "No," he said. "Let the silence speak louder." Final report. Galactic Council Archives. A classified report was passed hand to hand between council members of several alien races. The report was brief. Subject: humanity. They look soft. They speak gently. They trade fairly. But when provoked, they strike without warning. They do not threaten. They do not boast. They just act. And when they act, it is final. The report ended with one line. Do not take their kindness for weakness. The stars outside the window of the UNSC Mercy, a hospital ship in Earth orbit, shimmered quietly. Inside, the lights were low, the hallways calm. Machines beeped gently, voices were soft. It felt like peace. In room 12A, Sergeant Aaron Vale sat upright in bed. His arms were wrapped in healing wraps. His ribs were still bruised, but his eyes were sharp, awake, watching. He didn't say much. He hadn't since the rescue. Most people left him alone, except one. Was it worth it? She was a nurse, young, maybe early 20s. Her name tag read Mira. She checked his vitals in silence, her movements careful. But after a moment she glanced up and asked the question everyone had been wondering. Was it worth it? She said. Aaron looked at her. You mean the war? She nodded. 3 colonies, she said. Over 1 soldier. Aaron didn't speak right away. He looked out the window again. Earth spun slowly beneath them. Blue, green, alive. Then he answered. To Earth, he said. One of us is worth all of them. A quiet return. Earth never responded to the calls from the Galactic Council. Not to the questions, not to the warnings, not even to the peace offerings. They didn't need to. The galaxy had seen enough. The Karn Dominion had retreated from all human borders. They didn't send another ship near Earth space again. Their broadcast spoke of internal rebuilding, but everyone knew. They had been broken, not just by guns, by the message that echoed. In the debris of one Karn city, still smouldering, the phrase was carved into stone by railgun fire. "Don't touch our people." Alien historians called it excessive. Military leaders called it terrifying. But civilians across the stars whispered about it in awe. About the humans. About how they didn't roar. They acted. And when they acted, they did it for one of their own change-ins. The stars, alien empires rewrote their protocols. Rules of engagement were redrawn. New training modules were issued with a section labeled Dealing with Humans. The first rule, never take one alive. Aaron's final words. Weeks passed. Aaron healed. One morning, as he prepared to leave the ship, a small team of journalists waited near the landing dock. He didn't say much, just one sentence, spoken as he stepped onto the shuttle ramp, the Earth shining behind him. They made one mistake. They thought I was alone. Final voiceover. UNSC archive broadcast. Redacted. The galaxy learned that day. Never take a human soldier. Because Earth won't stop until they get them back.